Hi, my name is Andrea, and today I'm gonna have a proposition specifying how architecture and sculpture are inseparable as exterior and interior spaces have a very strong and unbreakable relation. As our new generation of architects rise, our general public is more and more curious about what's happening in the world and curious about the exterior. Ideas are spinning and traveling very fast as a reputation. So I asked myself, how do a good project becomes a great one? And how does a piece of art becomes an unforgettable genius piece of art? Also, Marcel Duchamp exposed this. These are toilets. How did he do for a toilet to become so adored by the general public, and how did those toilets arrived in every famous museum? My four main points are: first, a building could be an economic center. The second point is a research on the buildings that the public adored and that changed the view of the public on architecture. My third point is the building, the sculpture, and the communication. Those are in a relation, but how? And then the relation between exterior and interior spaces. My first point is the building as an economic center. If I show you this picture, I'm not trying to do a commercial about France, but you automatically think about Paris, about France. How? Because it's your brain that associates an image with the name. How did this building become the most famous building in France when it was the most criticized one? When it first arrived in 1889 for the Universal Exposition, this building was so criticized. Imagine the Romantic city, France, and this chaos of iron becomes in the center of the city. It was a scandal. And today, as a fact, there are more than 6 million visitors for this building every year. So this building became the center of the tourist in France, and it became the image itself of Paris and France. Also, I wanted to research on the Guggenheim Museum of Frank Gehry in Bilbao because Mark Kushner really spoke about it in his last TED Talk when he spoke about tourism and how a building could change the image of a city because Bilbao wasn't a very famous city until this museum was built. So, if I show you this, I'm sorry, the image is not very clear, but this is the Guggenheim Museum of Bilbao. And this museum, with its shapes and how the light reflects on it, it's a strong building. It is revolutionary. But I only see the exterior space. It could be criticized because you don't see how the building works and what's happening inside. I've never been to Bilbao, but this building created history. But I haven't seen this. If I show you this image, you would tell me, what is that? What is this space? It looks fantastic. But before I saw this picture, I had no idea that this was the interior of the Guggenheim in Bilbao. This is how we could differentiate how a building could be criticized in the exterior because you can like or dislike a building in its general shape. You can dislike how this building is shaped, like it's a chaos. It goes everywhere and nowhere, and we don't even know like what it looks like. And Perhaps if I show you this, you see that the building works and the light is magical inside, and that the space and the height of the floor is really amazing. So the building, the sculpture, and the communication are very, very important and inseparable, because this building, the Guggenheim Bilbao in Bilbao, is more of a sculpture. We know its shape. We communicate it because we communicate its shape because all around the world, I guess a lot of people know how this museum is shaped, but do they know that the interior space looks like this? No, because no one, like a little of among all the people that know the shape, will be interested in how the building works. Then we can see the relationship between the exterior and the interior space. I think that to work against this war of aesthetics, because people are more interested in the general aspect of everything. How could you bring the people to see the interior and how a building works? How people could be more interested in the inner person than a general person, like how it looks and how her hair looks. It's all about aesthetics. So I wanted to show you, again, it's in French because, but it's the Centre Pompidou in Paris. It was built with Renzo Piano and Richard Rogers. And the main point of this building that was strongly criticized was a building that works for everyone, for a popular people and the more educated one. And imagine this chaos in the center of Paris, the Haussmann buildings. It's just, people call it the stain of Paris. But now it is very important in our culture, and it is a center of, it is an example of how you can bring the inner beauty outside the building. And generally, this invites you to come in the building because you see the general aspect, the inner, the face that is hidden of the building. You can see it from the first sight, and this is what is very interesting, in my opinion, for those buildings. So as a solution, we as architects have a very strong role in the war for aesthetics. To be able to win against those prejudices, we have to invite our users to come in the space and see how the architects shape the history of the space and how it will become a great building. It's not a good project, it's a building that works. It's a building that created history and shape and light. And this is the way we should think about when we create a project, when we want our project to be famous and magical and very known by everyone. We have to invite our users. We have to 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 invite the curiosity of the users. Thank you.